We've started. There.
Where?
There. There. We're going to miss the sunrise, maybe.
Well, there's not going to be sunrise. There's still plenty of clouds.
What?
Clouds. It's those
What?
grey things that are hanging in
That's
the sky.
not. I can see a cloud. Plenty of clouds. Like some mornings, you can look out the window and not see anything blue.
You can see a cloud.
I can see a cloud. And
Yes,
then
well,
there's
that's
blue
it.
sky.
It's a cloud. It's that kind of
Plenty
cloud
of
that
clouds.
stretches from one side of the sky to the other, so you can't see almost any sky.
Well, maybe there's.
You can call that
maybe
a
there's clouds.
cloud.
Maybe there's a cloud where you're sitting, but there's not a cloud where I'm sitting.
There's a like the whole sky is covered with cloud where I'm sitting.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you obviously got the dark side.
Yeah. Obviously.
It looks like it's going to be quite nice from where I'm sitting, apart from the storm.
And the cloud.
Yeah. The grandparents don't want to get left with the kids tomorrow.
That's what you say.
That's what I know.
Did you ask them?
No, but I often know that they say yes when they're not happy about stuff because they think that it will help, but they've got their own things that they want to do. So they're busy with their own lives and other little things at the moment, like the garden and organization of the household.
Yes, I know, but
Duties and
it's we don't
responsibilities.
often, but we never leave them with the kids. I'm sure that for 3 hours it wouldn't make that much difference. We've only left
It
them.
might make a huge difference.
We've only left them ever with the kids.
Why don't you want to take the kids?
Because it's government offices and it's
Mhm.
going to be I've done it a million times before and I just know that it's so much easier without the kids. Especially when it's early morning.
My feeling is that at the moment, maybe I'll think about it and change my mind. I don't know. My feeling is at the moment that it's not a good idea.
Just especially in the morning when they're cranky and tired and...
Like the entire planet.
Yes, especially in the morning. Yes.
Look, we have to organize stuff around the kids anyway.
What are you talking about now?
Do you know what I'm talking about? The kids are part of the meetings.
You don't have to bring them there, though. You just need to bring the passports.
Yeah, like you don't need to bring a chandelier.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
but the kids are a chandelier.
But what are you... I mean, what's the point of what you just said? I don't understand how it connects to
Well, I
anything.
thought it was a family thing. I thought the whole family was going to be together.
Well, it doesn't have to be. It's not like it's a...
yeah,
it's not like it's a family outing that everybody's going to enjoy, you know.
I don't know.
I've had my fair share of dragging the kids around offices and if it can be prevented, then I'd rather not do it.
Yeah, what you originally said, well, it's 2 hours. It's going to be 4.
It's not going to be 4 hours, G.
It's going to be 4.
No.
Yes.
It is not going to be 4 hours.
You have no concept of the time factor.
Gee, they have meetings.
I've set my stopwatch on it.
They have meetings scheduled. Do you think that they're going to keep you there because I don't know what, because you're interesting? I mean, we've got the first meeting.
I think they're going to be disorganized.
No, we've got the first meeting and the second meeting. So there's not going to be anybody there who's scheduled and before us. Therefore,
you're imagining that they're organized.
Therefore, I know that they are organized. And we're going to finish tomorrow, and I will tell you I told you so, and then you will
No, I'm going to finish tomorrow, and I'm going to say I told you so.
No. What do you think they're going to?
It's that argument.
What do you think they're going to be discussing with you for 2 hours?
What?
The meeting's already scheduled to last an hour, 50 minutes. What do you think they're going to discuss with you any longer? I mean,
I think they're going to
how long do you want to be
ridiculous,
there?
stupid questions like the government people always do. Do you identify with your gender at birth? Like, are you really that screwed up in the head? What a ridiculous question to ask somebody.
Yeah, you're just making up a story just now.
What? No, I was asked that question, you spastic.
Dobre, okay.
I was asked that question by the government office. Do you identify with your gender at birth or still as the same gender? I don't know what the fuck the question was, but it was something retarded.
Well, it doesn't matter about what you were asked.
Do you identify as a tree?
Doesn't mean you're going to be asked the same questions tomorrow. You don't know that.
Do you identify as a cloud drifting across the sky? What would you like to identify as today? Which animal are you? Perhaps you'd like to be something connected with the Chinese New Year. I identify as a chest of drawers. There you go.
Have you finished?
My religion is Jedi. No,
I think you should let people make their own decisions, first of all. So if your parents say, yes, we'll take care of your kids, let them do it. Or, not necessarily let them do it, but don't treat them like they don't know what they're saying, you know? If they want to say no, they always have the right to say no, and they know that. And your mum is one person who knows that very well, and I know she would say no if she wanted to say no.
Yeah, but when you put a person under pressure to say yes, it's not a fair and balanced situation.
How's that putting them under pressure, if I ask if it's possible?
Because it's Monday morning, and I say they when I mean she has a plan. Why are you sticking your hand in the air?
She doesn't have anything scheduled for Monday.
I think you don't know that.
No regular activities. For one thing.
She's got her own regular activities.
What, smoking in the laundry?
Well, that would be an argument not to leave the kids with the grandparents because they'll sit in the laundry and smoke.
Not if they have to keep an eye on the kids.
Which is probably what they don't want to do because they probably want to sit in the laundry and smoke.
I think that would be just fine. I think you're reading their minds again.
No, I think you're leaning on people.
Yes, of course you lean on people. You have to lean on people if you want to live a normal life. That's how people work together. That's how society works.
No,
people lean on people. You lean on your family, you lean on your friends, and then you let your family and your friends lean on you. You can't exist like an island.
The island's lean.
You lean on people too. You lean on me. I lean on you. That's just how
sometimes
relationships work.
We all have pain.
Exactly.
We all have sorrow.
I've got pain tomorrow morning.
If we are wise.
And being able to leave the kids here would ease it.
I've got pain tomorrow morning. That's a ridiculous sentence.
Well, I've got it scheduled for 9:50.
Look, if that was a song title, people would roll laughing. Right.
Well, I've got scheduled pain in the neck tomorrow for 9:50, and
I got pain tomorrow morning, and I got bottles in my hand.
Being able to.
You're right there.
Being able to leave the babies would be a bit easier. Look, okay, let's take them, but you get them out of beds and get them ready to go, okay? And feed them in time and everything.
Do 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 do
I think that would be fair.
What's that the theme song from?
The Smurfs.
Ah, you are a wealth of hidden talents.
I know.
Yeah?
I know. I know.
Do you know the Smurfs was about communism?
Do you
There's
know
a
you
subtext.
just really abruptly changed the topic
I didn't abruptly change the topic. I know
without
exactly
answering
what I'm
my
doing.
question? I know you know exactly what you're doing.
I know exactly.
I know.
what I'm
I
doing.
know you know exactly what you're doing. You're
Look,
avoiding.
I can't say that I'm not going to need help with the kids and getting them up. See, look, the reason why you don't want to take the kids is because it is difficult to get the kids up and out of bed and dressed and
We're gonna have to get them up at 7:30.
and up and all that stuff again and again
Yeah.
because they go back to bed.
We're gonna have to get them up between 7 and 7:30.
Well, they can join the rest of the planet that's getting up at that time, can't they?
Well, they're gonna have to.
Well, there you go. There you go. There's nothing wrong with getting up early.
Well, there is something wrong with getting up early if you go to bed late. And they are going to go to bed late because they're not used to going to bed any earlier, so they won't be able to fall asleep any earlier.
There's a high probability of that being true.
It is true.
Well, we'll see how it all works out, won't we? If I have to get the kids up early, then I have to get the kids up early. Yeah, they're, as they say, there's no choice. It's just the way that it is.
Mm. Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Isn't it?
I'm not.
How were the grandparents last night? Are they okay?
I don't know.
Gra-
I didn't talk to them last night at all. I was working.
Grandma didn't fall over again.
I wouldn't know about that because I was working. But I didn't hear any thumps or anything similar.
Or loud groans or
Yeah.
odd noises.
I think they were relatively sober-ish.
My mother makes noises like a ghost.
She's probably going to continue after she departs to the afterlife.
And she's going to come back and nag everybody. Murray, you need to get up.
Does that already.
Murray, do you know what time it is?
She does that already
Come on, Murray.
in your head.
What? Sorry?
I said she does that already in your head.
Stop hitting me with the book.
Oh God, it must
What?
really hurt. It's got what, like 4 pages?
I think it's got more than 4 pages. I think you have to have more than 4 pages to be called a book.
Okay, sorry. Well, I might have
like
10.
It's definitely got more than 10 pages. I can see for here. It's definitely got more than 10 pages.
1, 2, 3,
Oh no! Wait a
4,
minute.
5,
You're-
6,
you're
7,
You're half
8,
counting.
9,
You're not even counting them properly.
10, 11, 12,
I told you.
13, 14,
And you-
15, 16.
And you're counting the actual
17,
pages, which is
18.
two pages, which makes it 36
Stop.
pages.
18 sheets of paper.
Yes.
I just hit you with 18 sheets of paper. Are you gonna live?
What?
Did I fracture your skull?
Fuck off. Fuck off. I'll just whack you with this tissue that I've got over here.
Oh no, that is going to hurt.
Or an empty bottle of water, perhaps.
Look, I could have chosen to whack you over the head with the Star Wars encyclopedia, but I wouldn't do that to you because that would hurt.
You don't want to drop that on your foot. That would be nasty.
What does it say about a person? You know, the kinds of books they have on their bedside table.
What does it say about a person?
I've got
Well, you've got Stephen King, usually.
I've got Star Wars the Visual Encyclopedia and Herb the Vegetarian Dragon.
Herb the vegetarian dragon.
Yes.
What the fuck is that? Is that what you hit me with?
Yeah.
You hit me with Herb the vegetarian dragon.
Yep. I did.
You spongle. Whatever that is. Look.
You have to stop
The-
calling Will that.
What? Spoon?
Yes.
Was it getting on his nerves?
No, I was getting on my nerves.
It's getting on your nerves.
Yes.
What was I supposed to call him? Spork?
No, just don't call him any names. Be
Well,
nice.
look, if somebody did something silly and someone said, you're silly, right, because they did something silly, that would, I think, generally be accepted, right?
No.
No,
It's-
you
no,
can't
it
call
wouldn't.
someone silly either.
No.
You can't call them spoon when they do something silly.
No.
You can't call them silly when they do something silly.
No.
Why does the word exist then? What's the
Because
point of having the word if you can't use it?
you can't do that because that's labeling.
Fucking labels stick on everything. That's how you buy shit. That's how you organize shit. That's how you ship shit. That's how you.
That's
That's
not
how
how you parent, though.
What?
That's not how you parent, though.
Well, you need to stick labels on things like this is Will. Will is a label. It's a name, right? Boy is a label. That's this biological. We tag and label things in order to understand what we're talking about, and then we vary the tags in order to have some kind of kind of, I don't know, fun or interest within the
No.
language.
What
that
you
we
do
use.
is you don't label people with the absolutes. You don't label people with the absolutes like you're silly or you're a spoon or you're lazy or you're beautiful or.
Well, look, he's sitting at the table, right, and he spills his
You've
food on
just
himself.
jumped into my sentence.
But I'm giving you an example.
But you can wait until I finish my sentence. Okay? It's hard, I know.
It's not that it's hard.
What we do is we don't label them with absolutes, but
It's not an
You can
absolute.
point at-
Wait a minute. It's not an absolute.
you can point out a activity
It's-
or something that's happening.
That's
Right?
that's what you're doing when if he spills his food on himself. I'm like, spoon, don't spill your food.
That's just mean.
What?
That's just mean.
Oh, well, I just use his name constantly. I was like, Will, don't spill your food, mate.
Yes.
Will, don't spill your food, mate.
Yes, because Will is
that's
neutral.
so boring to
Will
use the
is
same
neutral.
word. I'm just having a bit of variety
I am
in my
sorry
life.
that it's not entertaining enough for you not to be
Well,
derogatory
I like to use a
the
variety
children.
of words, not just the same fucking word all the time.
Okay, but then use something positive.
A spoon is quite a funny thing.
It's funny thing, but it's not funny thing when you know that it means silly, and when somebody calls you that
There's nothing
constantly.
wrong with the word silly. There's nothing wrong with synonyms for the word silly.
There's everything
silly
wrong
is
with
silly.
that because
Stupid is stupid.
if somebody calls you stupid all the time,
Yes, but people don't call it. It's not an absolute, and it's not happening all the time. So.
okay,
those
if somebody
arguments
calls
don't
you
apply.
silly at least twice a day, okay.
Well, what if you do something silly? You're supposed to ignore the silliness
No,
of the
you're
situation.
not supposed to ignore it. You can point out
There's
why
nothing-
the thing that they have done is not logical or no, I don't know, they haven't been thought through or what's wrong with it. But just
Yes,
saying
that's part of it.
spoon is not.
Yeah, but you're
Doesn't help anybody.
changing
You're
reality
labeling
because
them.
you're saying just saying spoon, as if I would just say spoon. No, I'd point out the reality of the situation, and
Did I say
where
the
it
word
says
just?
it. Yes. Yeah, you isolated spoon.
Okay, I'm
You
sorry.
you
I did not
isolate-
want to say the word just, but
You
saying spoon
isolated.
is wrong. It's wrong because
it's not.
what
Silly.
happens
Silly
in
is
your
not
mind is
wrong.
it
Spoon's
just
not
gets in.
wrong.
Listen to me, and you know I'm right because we talked about this before and you've agreed with me before. Only we were talking in general and we weren't talking about Will in particular.
Yeah.
When you call children something often enough, they will start to believe you and they will identify
Well, silly
with
is
it.
silly. You
Do
can't
you
ignore
want
the fact that
Will?
silly doesn't exist.
Do you want Will to identify with being silly?
Look, you're turning a tiny little thing into a massive thing, as if it happens all the
I'm
time
not saying it's
everywhere. It's like
massive,
if something
Chi,
silly
and I'm not
happens, you
saying
point out
it's
silly. It's
happening
like if it's
everywhere.
windy outside, you go, look, it's windy. You don't go like, well,
Yes, but
it's
there's a
not going
big
to
difference
recognize
between
reality.
pointing out a physical reality and passing judgment about
I'm not
actions.
passing judgment about actions by saying, hey, spoon, don't spill your food on yourself. Or hold your, or to
I
bring
just
the
don't
plate
like it.
closer.
I don't like it. I don't like it when you call him spoon or silly. I just don't like it. I don't think it's nice.
So when you've done it hundreds of times, which I know you have,
I know
because
I have done it and I don't want to do it anymore.
well, that's okay. You don't want to do it anymore, and I don't want to be limiting my language when I know my language is not wrong to be used, because I know that reality is reality, and it's not that I'm saying focus on the negative instead of the positive. It's like
But do you
it's all
think
part of the positive. It's as
did,
negative only as you want it to be negative.
but did you stop and think that maybe he doesn't find it funny?
Well, maybe nobody finds anything funny.
Maybe
That's
he
just kind
finds
of a
it
weird.
hurtful.
It's kind of a weird argument. Look, people find look everything can be hurtful to anybody anywhere. I don't think that's an argument. I don't think that, and I'm not saying
Well,
that
why
you
are you
should do
saying
things that
that?
are hurtful. I'm just saying that as an argument. Don't you think it's hurtful? Don't you think it's bad to plant this tree here? Yes. There's a negative side to every single thing that happens. You can look at the negatives of it, or you can look at the positive of it.
Well,
You
what
can
are
look
the
at the
positives
reality
of
or
it?
the
What's the
non-reality.
positive of calling him spoon?
What's the positive of it?
Yes. What does it bring into the situation? I mean, what does it give him?
What does it bring into the situation?
Yes. What's the positive of it?
It's is a it's an interesting word. It's a synonym for silly activities that happen. It's
No, it's not synonym for activities. It's a person. It's the name of a person. It's not name of activity. There's a big difference. But I pointed out at the beginning if you were listening.
I was listening very carefully, and I'm aware of the fact that you pointed that out. I think that the whole look, I'm not referring specifically to some kind of inner characteristic of the person. I'm referring to the whole situation. Okay,
Yes, I
so
know
maybe
that.
you're defining it differently. Okay, so maybe for you, what it means is that it means it's like some kind of internal attack on the person. Okay, but for me, it's it's a comment on a situation which is ridiculous. I mean, could you
Yes,
use the
but
word
that's not.
ridiculous? Is that okay? I mean, which words are you suddenly going to like and
It
not
depends
like?
on what you're describing by ridiculous. If you say, "Will, you are ridiculous," that's wrong. If you say, "Will, what you've just done is ridiculous," that's all right. Because you're not judging the person, you're judging the action, and the action can always be changed or done better next time.
Yeah, and the action is done by a person,
Yes.
and the person can always be better next time. So it's not about the action as much as it is about the person.
Look, would you like me to find you some studies or some articles about
You
it
can find
on AHA
anything
parenting
about
and
you.
give you some more
You
information
can
about it
find
so that
you can find
understand it?
any articles. I understand it perfectly. I teach it. I teach the use of language to people. It's part of my job. I know it inside out, back to front, and upside down, and I'm not going to start limiting language that I know is okay. I'm not like it's not like I'm turning around and saying, "Oh, you complete dick," or something like that, which would be really offensive. I'm saying something silly has happened, and I'm using the word spoon to express the situation that something silly has happened, and that we all need to be more careful in the future about things that we do, so that we don't drop something or spill something, or so that we're more careful, or that we take more care in our environment or care for other people.
I wouldn't even
And
compare it to offensive things like "you complete dick." Okay, I know that it's not.
But you're
It's
talking about, I'm not comparing it to
not.
that, but what I'm saying is that if you start being picky about language, you end up going down a very complex road.
But I have always been picky about language when it comes to talking to kids.
Question, is language important? Answer, yes. Can we be picky about every little thing? No.
Look,
Can
you
we
d-
pay attention to detail? Yes. So
I
there's
mean,
various ways of
We have
approaching
both
it.
always been, even you have been picky about language when it came to using negative and positive sentences, for example, right? When you always said, well, don't say no to the children.
Okay,
give them,
who was the
give them
person?
positive alternatives.
Who was the person that set up the no negative sentences day? Who was the
You
person that
just jumped
introduced
into
the
my
idea?
sentence. I just said it was you.
Yeah, I didn't know you were talking about that because you didn't mention that specific thing. I thought you were talking in general. I'm talking about a specific thing. You didn't
Well,
mention that thing.
you have done this in specifically, and you also have always been an advocate of choosing better words to talk to children, or choosing better ways to talk to children, positive rather than negative. That's why I don't understand what you're now saying, that you're not going to be, that you're not going to be super careful about your language because,
No, I didn't say that.
or whatever
I didn't
you
say
said.
that
I
at all.
don't know.
Now,
I'm trying
now
to.
you've made up something.
I didn't make it up.
Yes,
I'm
you did.
trying
You
to
didn't-
paraphrase you because I don't
no,
remember
made
your
up,
exact
made
words
up,
because
made
I
up,
didn't
made up,
record
made
them.
up. I didn't
Well,
say
what
I'm
did
not
you
going to
say?
be careful. I said the opposite.
Well, what did you say?
Said
That
the
you said
opposite.
that if you start being picky about language, you'll go down a very complex road. Well, of course I know you're gonna go down a very complex road, but you have to be picky about language, and you have always been picky about language.
Is language important? Yes. Are situations different? Yes. Do you have to understand both sides of the equation? Yes.
Well, I'm
So
just suggesting.
that previous statement.
Look, I don't want to fight with you. I'm just suggesting.
No, who's fighting? Now you're bringing fights into it.
I'm just suggesting that
You're framing
this
it as
is
a fight. It's not a
one
fight.
more thing to be picky about. Okay, we're
Do
already.
you want to be picky about it?
Yes.
You want to be picky about it?
Yes, we're already being careful about certain ways
Well,
of talking
what if
to
I say I
children.
don't like the word picky then?
I'm
would
saying
that be
that
okay? See, it gets silly.
it's not about the word. It's about calling somebody something. It doesn't just have to be negative. Even you can
I've
you
just broken
can.
the ear off this character.
Are you nervous?
No, I just came off from my hand.
It's just that
Oh no, it comes off, but it's not. I don't think it's supposed to.
you can do damage even when you call
I've done
them.
damage to this character.
You can do damage even when you call them positive things too often. You keep repeating to somebody they're clever, and they will be all fucked up about it in the future if they make a mistake.
Well, that's my point. You can't be too picky about it.
No, that proves the point that you have to be.
Yeah, but what I meant by too picky about it there was, I didn't express myself well. What I meant was that you could overpraise, and that's negative.
Yes.
Didn't express it well.
But the thing is, and it's not about overpraising. It's about using the nouns as an absolute. Even if you don't mean it as an absolute, it's perceived as an absolute. That's the psychology of the
It
language.
doesn't matter. You can take any. Look, is it better to focus on the positive rather than the negative?
I'm not making that point.
No, I am, sir.
I'm making the point.
I'm not asking. I'm not saying you.
Why are you introducing this new point to the situation?
Because
nobody's talking about positive and negative. We're talking about action as opposed to
okay,
a label.
Nobody's talking about positive and negative. So what have you been talking about for the last 10 minutes if it's not positive
I'm trying
and
to
negative?
explain it to you.
So you're not talking about positive and negative?
I'm not talking about positive language and negative language. I'm talking about the opposition of the absolute nouns used as a description of a person versus the actions and the descriptions or judgment or whatever of the
And
actions rather than the person.
Is that not highlighting the positive and negative?
It doesn't matter whether you're talking about positive or negative things, or positive or negative characteristics.
It doesn't matter.
It goes for both. You always criticize or praise actions rather than the person.
Yes, that's one of my teachings. Thank you very much for repeating my teachings.
Well, that's what I'm trying to explain to you. That when you call him spoon, you're not criticizing or praising actions, you're criticizing or praising the person.
Look, if it needs to be more defined that it's the action rather than the person, then I will work on that. However, I think that you're projecting it onto the person when I'm talking about the situation. If you're worried that Will might perceive it to be more personal than more situational, then I will look at that. However, my perspective is to comment upon the situation, not the person.
Yes, that's great. Thank you very much. That's something that we can agree on. Good. The only thing that I was pointing out was that when you say that he's a spoon, or when I say that he's a spoon, because I did it as well.
Yeah. So
we're not focusing on the situation, or we're not communicating about the situation. We're communicating about him. So even though you...
Yeah, I mean, you have to be really, really careful, because look, you can't being aware is important, but you can't worry about every word and every phrase, because
you're just
using
extremes, right? I didn't say every word, every phrase.
Yeah, but what I want to point out is that most people's language is negative most of the time.
Yeah, well, not most people.
Yes, most people.
I said I'm not most people.
Yeah, but why do you think I set up the let's use only positive phrases day? And who lost? Okay, so the reason for setting it up was to point out and remind ourselves of how difficult it is to be like that, and the effect that language has. And I think that you found it an interesting and fun experiment that proved that it's extremely difficult to frame everything in a positive light.
Yes, but that's you're talking
about a real experiment with real results.
Yes, but off topic, because it was about something else.
Okay, what's important for you in that?
In what?
In the something else that you mentioned there. You said it's something else. So what is it to you, and why is it important?
I don't understand what you're asking me. I said that you're talking about the experiment, but the experiment doesn't have that much to do with our situation, apart from the fact that it's hard to control your own language.
You see, I think the experiment has everything to do with our situation. See, I disagree. I have a different perspective on that.
Okay.
You know?
Anyway, I think that...
Because it's real. Sorry, I just want to say it's because it's real and it happened.
Yeah. Okay. The final point is that you know the basic equation of communication, right? That information in, decoding, processing, then coding again, and then information out, right?
I think it is both more simple and complicated than that explanation.
Yes, well, I said basic. Okay, it's the basic equation of communication, and I think what you are coding, right? You're coding. I'm commenting on the situation, but you're coding it in a way that can be decoded in, oh, he's commenting about me as a person by Will.
Sorry, I didn't understand that sentence. He's commenting about...
I'm saying that what you're saying, you think you're commenting about the situation being silly. You say, well, you spoon, don't spill your food, right? But he hears that and he decodes that Dad thinks I'm a spoon, right? He doesn't necessarily decode it as Dad thinks this situation is silly, right? That's the only point that I'm trying to make is
Okay, what phrase?
be careful about how
What
you
phrase?
code it.
What
Okay.
phrase that or word that is humorous and inoffensive should be used in that kind of situation? Because I think that I don't think that it's worthwhile being critical if you're not offering some kind of solution, right?
Okay. Anything that doesn't comment
No,
about this person.
no. Anything is not an answer. That's like saying everything is
So
nothing.
you want me to come up right now with a word that would be funny, that would describe the action?
Oh well, don't run away from the problem. Okay, don't run away from the problem, right? Because I've said to you, you've introduced something that you think is a problem. Now, if you're introducing a problem without any idea of what the solution might be,
The solution is don't use it. The solution
No.
is don't call him Spoon.
no,
That's the solution.
Okay, just leave a huge area of silence. That's just genius. That's not
No,
gonna
just
work
say,
at
well,
all.
don't spill your food.
Do you think you don't think that's going to have a negative effect? Oh my God! You see, you've started the ball rolling down a hill where you can't stop it, because there's a strong argument for that statement is even more negative than
Then Spoon,
than
don't spill your food.
no, because now you've made up a sentence. Okay, so
You used
y-
that before,
yeah,
and,
but you're
and it's
using- you're
recorded.
doubling-
and you
you're-
said,
you're
"Well,
doubling-
Spoon, don't
you-
don't spill your said, don't spill your food." You use that. You
no,
use
I'm
that as an
comparing.
example.
Okay, I'm comparing the use of a word with the use of the description of a situation. It's just I don't. The reason that word was specifically chosen. That word wasn't. I used that word specifically
Mm-hmm.
because of the humorous element of it, not because it's offensive. It's because it's light-hearted.
Yes, I understand that. I understand that. But even light-hearted things can...
You can't go around being worried about being light-hearted.
I'm saying that you perceive it as light-hearted, but it can get on his bloody nerves because he knows bloody well that it means... That means silly, right?
Well, what's wrong with the word silly?
Well, nothing. But if
Well,
somebody calls you
Spoon is a
silly
synonym.
regularly, then you will start believing that you're silly.
Wait, so if a person does silly things...
You don't have to point it out all the time, for fuck's sake.
I don't point... That's
Just
an
say,
extreme statement.
why do you even
Point
have
it
to
out all
judge
the
it?
time.
Why do you even have to say it, right? I mean, if he spills his food, I'll ask him, well, do you need a tissue?
Because...
You know? I don't have to say, that's silly, you spilled food. I'll just say, do you need a tissue? End
yeah,
of
okay, now
story,
you're
you
making
know?
up something, because I don't... You said every... Like, all the time or every time. I can't remember the exact word you
Well,
used,
it's
but
quite
that's
often.
not true.
So
No,
every
there's a
time,
difference between
obviously,
every
but it's
time and quite
often.
often. There's a difference between those things. And you say quite often, I would say that there are days that go by where it's not uttered at all. Days, okay?
Very seldom.
There are days that go by. So this idea that it's very often, right, is ridiculous. And if you know, he's carrying, I don't know, some food upstairs and he spills something or drops something, or you know, like we'll be out playing football in the park and he'll trip over the ball and I'm like, come on, get up, Spoon. Because it's funny because he's tripped over the ball and we're laughing about it, and we're not making a big deal out of it. We're not making something big out of something that doesn't mean something. It's just a passing word that allows the situation to be framed in a humorous manner, and it's light-hearted, and it's not intensifying the negativity of the situation. And you can always argue that there's a more positive way to frame your language. You can always argue, because there always is. There's always a way to be better. There's always a way to improve. There's always a way to find something that you can change, some little part of element of something.
Oh, I
And
don't
if
see
the
anything.
argument is let's be better, I'm like, yes,
Good.
let's be better.
Good.
But at the same time, if the argument is that this thing is negative, I'm going to debate that it's framing the situation in a light-hearted and humorous way, and that's important. And you will find this technique used in theater. You'll find it used in comedy. You'll find it used in films. You'll find it used in all areas and elements of society. And I don't see the issue when it's clear that it's the situation. Now, if he's internalized, I'll ask him I'll ask him today or tomorrow or whenever is in the nearest future that's appropriate, how he feels about it and what he thinks about it, and if he'd like me to change the word and use a different word. But I think it's part of the fun that you can be playful with language, and it happens everywhere. You can watch a football match on TV, and the commentators will be making these comments about the players and the acts, and somebody will pass the ball and go, "Oh, the silly move," and they'll be like, "Yeah, yep," and people just accept it. They don't have to accept it as negative. Silly is part of life.
They're not gonna.
Right? We can't ignore the fact that silly exists. It's a part of people's everyday life. There are things that people do every day that are errors, that are mistakes, and saying that something is silly is a way of pointing.
That's my point. Saying you made a mistake is different than saying you're silly.
Absolutely, that's the point I'm making. Thank you for agreeing with me. That's the point. That's the very point I'm making, because if you can take something which is maybe more serious and you can sort of point it out in a light-hearted way that it's ridiculous,
yes,
that's fine.
I think that also we should stop pointing out things that are obvious to Will already. Like, for example, if he does walk up the stairs, down the stairs, something, and spill soup, he knows it's not good. So I would like to work myself on not having to not pointing that out to him, because it's just gonna make him more frustrated with himself.
Well, yes, but I don't think that happens. I don't think I've seen him do like
it's like if he spills
copious,
something,
endless amounts of silly things,
yes.
And I've said nothing
good
about it or nothing negative, or only pointed out a positive element of the situation.
Good.
And I'm not going to regulate my use of the word spoon when I know that 99% of the time I'm reinforcing the positive. I know that I'm doing that. I'm conscious of the language that I'm using. Most of the time I might slip here and there, but I'm a damn sight more conscious than anyone else, maybe with the exception of you, that I know. And Babka said something that made me very angry on Friday, which was because I had that meeting in the evening, and she was going on about you and Jedko not getting home from the shopping to look after the kids, and she was like, well, if they don't get back in time, just shove the kids through to the bank. And it was this idea of shoving the kids through to the bank. She used the word shove, and I just thought that's really not the way to talk about passing over care of the kids. And so I'm highly aware of language. That was just one word, right? And I was highly aware of that one word in that one sentence. So I'm conscious of it all the time. And the fact that somebody would refer to the care of kids as shoving them.
Sometimes it's more difficult to be aware of our own of our own things.
No, it's always more difficult. It's not that sometimes, it's always more difficult to be aware of our own language. You know, why do you think I do the podcast recordings? Why do you think I record the work that I do? Why do you think I publish the work that I do?
There's one more thing.
Because I need to be aware of the language that I'm using, because it's the most important tool that I have for making the world a better place.
There's one more thing that I find
Annoying.
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 Yes.
Yes.
And that is
Go ahead.
the fact that the kids have to ask permission to leave the table. I don't like that at all. I think it's authoritarian, and I don't like it.
Well, do you know why that was introduced? You know why I introduced that rule? I introduced that rule for a specific reason.
Because you were taught it as a child.
No.
And because you were taught that is the polite thing to do.
No.
Because you had to do it.
No. You're wrong in all of those cases. 100% wrong.
Did you not have to do it when you were a child? Did your parents not teach you to do that when you were a child before leaving the table?
I can't remember specifically at this moment in time, but that's a completely irrelevant point, because you're wrong. And I know that you're wrong, and I can prove that you're wrong.
Okay.
So I don't need to worry about that, because I can prove you're wrong. 100%.
Are you going to continue?
Yeah, because the kids kept getting up and leaving the table during the meals. They kept well, obviously Jazz was younger at that point in time, so obviously it doesn't specifically apply to Jazz, because
Well, she still leaves the table without.
Look, it reduced the problem, because the children were getting up during meals and leaving the table, and it was frustrating me, and it was frustrating you, and I remember it very clearly. And you were like, please just sit down, just stay at the table, just stay there. And it was frustrating both of us a lot. And so I introduced this rule that you have to ask before you leave the table to stop the children getting up and down during a meal 10 or 15 times, which is what they were doing. And it reduced it to 1 or 2 times. And it worked very effectively and solved the problem and relieved the frustration.
Do you think we could maybe switch to just excuse me?
You want to change the phrase. You want to. Oh, you're back to the phrase again. The phrase is the wrong phrase. Please, may I leave the table? It's the wrong phrase.
Yes, because I would like to treat them as more as adults than as kids. You know, when it comes to respect and rights. And I think it would be wrong because, I mean, I don't have to ask to leave the table, right? I don't have to say, please, may I leave the table? You know what I mean? I'd like for them to have the same.
No, because you're the fucking adults. You don't say to the adults, don't say to kids, please may I leave the table. And the world might be better if they did, because they'd be living on the same level. So that's ridiculous. I mean, you can't say that. I get this equality.
Yes, can we get it to the same level now? I mean, how about the kids just say, I think.
No, because you don't do that in any other sense. It's like you don't give the kids the keys to the car to drive, because the parents know better.
Can you just listen to me? Wouldn't it be much better to teach them to say, thank you very much for the meal. I have had enough. Please excuse me. That would be even more polite than please may I leave the table. Because that would be appreciating the effort of somebody who's cooked the meal.
What if it's not true?
And then excusing themselves.
What if they're not happy with the meal?
Well, they can still say thank you because the person still took the pains to cook it for them.
How do you ensure that? Okay, let's take that for granted. Okay, how do you ensure that they're not just saying thank you to say thank you? You see, that's that. You could. There's an argument. I'm not saying it is, but there's an argument for that being worse. Because saying thank you can be an automatic response rather than a real response. And if you program children to say thank you, there's a possibility that it will become automatic rather than honest. And that would be a mistake. Whereas if you say, please may I leave the table, it's a reference to the situation that they are in, not a reference to the
But it's like,
quality of things. And if you're training someone to say, thank you very much for the meal, what if they're not thankful? What if they're just automatically using the language because they've been told to use it automatically? You see,
it's still going to make everybody happier in a situation.
No, you can't argue that possibly being not truthful is going to make everybody happier in a situation is a good idea. It's never right to do something wrong to get something right. Never. Never, ever.
Like having to ask to leave the table is the same thing like having to ask to use the toilet. You're at the same level as the authoritarian school institutions.
Can I refute that as being? Can I give the argument for that being wrong?
Okay.
Okay. Going to the toilet is a biological function.
Yes.
Right. So your body is filled with. You know how it works. I don't have to explain. Your body's filled with whatever, and it needs to release it so that it can continue. Right.
So.
Yeah. Well, that's not the same as leaving the table. It's not leaving the table is not a biological need. It's a situation of respect. It's not a biological need. You're comparing two completely different situations.
Yes, but you're not teaching respect.
You just ignored my argument completely. I'm correct and you ignored it.
I'm reacting to your argument. I'm responding to your argument. You just said.
The argument is that going to the toilet is a biological function.
Yes, and that staying at the table is showing respect.
Sorry?
And you said that staying at the table is about showing respect.
Staying at the table is about showing respect.
That staying at the table or leaving the table is about showing respect.
I don't know what that statement means, but I really don't know what that statement means, because the reason for the introduction of the statement was to stop the children leaving the table many times during meals, which was frustrating both of us.
Well, they're not doing it anymore, so
it's worked.
So we don't have to do it anymore either. We can just... Why can't they just start using adult language? Why can't they just say...
Oh, adult... I asked to leave the table.
Thank you, I've had enough.
If
I can be
in situations in the past where I've been at a table with other people, I've said, excuse me, do you mind if I leave the table? It's an adult way that adults respect and treat each other.
Okay.
Do you want to change the phrase to, rather than please may I leave the table, excuse me, do you mind if I leave the table? Would that be better for you?
That sounds better. Yes.
Okay, because you've got this permission, obviously, complex with just asking for permission. But the adults are the people in authority. That's the way the world works. Adults have the authority. I'm not saying they should always use it, but that's the way that it is, and it's a good thing, because kids don't have the responsibility to make a lot of the decisions in.
Yes,
in life,
it's yes.
So you have to be respectful to the authority.
Yes.
Adults are the authority. If
yes,
parents
that's okay,
didn't say to kids clean your teeth, they wouldn't fucking clean their teeth.
But saying please, it's I get that, okay? I'm not an idiot. I'm not saying that.
So you don't like the word please in the phrase, is that right? I'm trying to
explain it to you, but you jumped into my sentence.
What's the wrong word? Which word is it you don't like?
You're doing it again.
It's important. It's very important for me to know which word it is that you
I
don't
like the fact that they have to
so you like
beg to...
so you think that please is begging?
Well, that's the verb. To say please is a synonym to beg somebody to do something.
Whoa, slow down. That's ridiculous. To say please is not to beg.
What is it? What do you call the verb?
That's ridiculous.
Well, what do you call the verb from... Please.
To please somebody.
To please somebody.
To please somebody is to make somebody happy.
Yes, I know, but that's
What's wrong with that?
That's not the synonym to say please.
Well, I'm talking about synonyms. I'm talking about.
I'm looking for a synonym to saying please.
To make somebody happy. To please somebody is to make somebody happy.
I know what to please means. I'm not looking for the verb to please. I'm looking for the verb that expresses to say the word please.
You're looking for the verb to express the verb.
I'm looking for the verb
What?
that expresses saying please. It's to
I
beg,
do
no?
not understand that question. I'm sorry, I do not understand that at all. Please explain this to me, how I can help you with this, because I don't understand what
To
you're talking
beg
about.
means to ask somebody very politely while saying please to them.
No,
No?
you just added in the please part. To beg is to ask for something in a very, I don't know, in a certain way. I'm not sure what a certain is, but to beg is a very strong term as a synonym for to ask for something. Now, you might be confusing please with plead. Okay, you might be confusing those because to beg, you could say a synonym for beg is plead. Yeah, to plead, but it's not the same as please.
I know it's not the same as please, but to please somebody and to say please does not mean the same thing, right? It's not. They're not synonymous.
Slow down.
So
Slow
to
down.
plead
Slow down.
is
Let
more likely the synonym to say please. To say please and to plead is the same thing, right?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. As a person who works in language, and I know we both work in language, but I would never teach that to somebody ever, because it's patently wrong.
I don't. Okay, then let's just stick to the words say please. If I don't have a proper verb to express that, so I don't want.
What's wrong with please?
I don't
Please
want-
and thank you. They are the magic words.
Yes, I know, but you don't have. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to ask permission from the adults to move around, to use your own body.
Look,
It's the bodily
who's
autonomy.
who's completely exaggerating the situation now? It's a table of people
Yes.
who are sitting around it,
Yes.
and you have to learn to respect the other people at the table.
Yes.
You respect the other people at the table, all of the people, because you're not just asking the parents, you're asking everybody at the table. You're treating everybody the same. You're asking everybody.
But you're
"Please,
not
can I
treating
leave?"
everybody the same, because your father never says, please may I leave the table. Your mother
Yeah.
never says, please may I leave the table.
And I think they should. I think it's wrong.
Well, then talk to them about it.
No, because it won't have any effect. It will have zero effect. I would talk to somebody who I could influence in a positive way to do something, but everybody who is leaving the table should politely use a phrase which it's basically, are you asking for permission? Yes, but are you really asking for permission? No, you're just using a polite phrase to express to people
And
that
that's
you
the
would like.
difference, that they really are asking for permission.
There's nothing wrong with asking for your parents' permission. Nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong with asking for your parents' permission.
Yes, I know, but not in
Please
this
can
situation.
please can I go into the garden? There's nothing wrong. Please can I go into the park? There's nothing wrong.
I
Please
know,
can I
but
watch
that's
a
a
film?
different situation. It's
Please
not
can I have a
about
glass of
leaving the
milk?
table. It's a completely different situation. You can't compare those two.
Okay, so what's the difference between please may I leave the table and please can I have a glass of milk?
And when you say please may I have a glass of milk, is you're asking them to help you. You need their help.
So please has more meanings.
I didn't say that.
No,
I said it
no,
depends
I'm
on the
trying to
situation.
So please can have more meanings.
No, please
it can't.
always has the same meaning, but
Please
it
always
depends on the situation where you use it, whether it's
Surely if the situation changes,
appropriate or not to use it.
so you would accept it that it's okay for a kid to say, please can I have a glass of milk?
Well, I think that's normal to say that because they're asking me for my help. So
Please can I leave the table is...
they're not asking me for any help. They're asking if they can move freely around the house.
No, look, do you understand what that means? Please can I leave the table is not an expression of asking for permission. It's an expression of politely saying, basically, I'm going to do something anyway. If anybody has any objections, please let me know. That's what it means. It doesn't mean I'm subservient to the opinions of everybody else.
Yes, but they are in that situation because
they're
many
kids. It's not the language. It's the fact they're kids, and kids are always subservient when they're young to the
I
needs
know,
of
but
their
they
parents.
shouldn't be
Always.
in that. They shouldn't be in that situation.
Put your seatbelt on, okay? You know, the parents are
But
there
that's,
to
you
ensure
cannot
that.
compare the situations, because it's not about keeping them safe when you keep them at the table. It's not about any of that. Maybe it's about respect. Maybe you think that if they stay at the table longer after they've finished eating, it shows respect. And if you say that, then it's perfectly okay to sit down with them and tell them it's respectful to stay at the table a little bit longer after you have finished your food. So it would be nice if you could stay until everybody else has finished eating, and then reinforce that or something. Or I don't know what's the rule about that.
Look, you can.
Is it
There's no.
respectful to wait until
There's no
everybody
other.
else
There's
is
no
finished
other.
eating?
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Okay, well then we can teach them that. Because they
You're
don't
going to
know.
run into problems if you start removing that phrase. You're going to run into a whole series of problems that you can't even see, that I can see really, really, really clearly, that are going to happen if you start removing that phrase, because you would need to replace it with something else. You'd need to reinforce that something else. You need to ensure that something else was always done. And your idea that this is asking for permission is ridiculous. It's a polite phrase. It's like saying everything means exactly what.
But you never.
What, it's like that's like saying when I say, oh, you're a spoon, I actually think that you're a spoon, like a real spoon, right? You know,
No, it's obvious that it's supposed to be spastic, but you're trying
Excuse
to
me?
put it in a nice way.
No, that's your projection. That's your projection. That's absolutely not true. That's the opposite of what's true. Because I said it's light-hearted, okay? It's a light-hearted word that can be used in a light-hearted situation to ensure that that's fine. Now, you're projecting the word spastic on top of it. And that says a lot about, you know, where you're coming from in terms of language and your fear of language, because that's 100% not what I'm doing.
You called him
No.
spaz many times before.
I have used that term
So,
many times. I don't know how many
in
times I've
my-
used it, but yeah. Look, is spaz a stronger term that shouldn't be used? Yes, I would agree with that. But
my
definitely not spoon.
In my opinion, spoon to spaz is the same relationship as gosh to God or heck to hell, right?
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's a ridiculous opinion, and I respect the fact that you relate those two things together. But you know, if someone says to me, "Trees are like clouds," I'd be like, "Cause I kind of see them in the same way." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." But it's
I think you should
they're not-
introspect and maybe find out that. There's
saying that two things that are
truth.
not each other are each other is ridiculous. It's like saying
I
table
didn't
is
say
like chair.
I didn't
because
say
you can
it's
sit
the
on-
same thing.
No,
I
it's
said
not. It's a
it's
similar thing. No, you relate it to it, right? You said that.
It
Oh,
is
it's
related to it.
no. It's only related to you by you. It's only related to it by you and your values in that situation. It's exactly the same as saying, well, I relate table to chair because you can put your plate on a chair and you can sit on a table. It's like, yeah, but they're not the same thing. They're not the same thing at all, right? And maybe you need to use one together with the other. Fair enough, but it's still not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all.
I know it's
If you
not.
order
I didn't
a
say it
table,
was
you don't
the
expect a
same thing.
chair to arrive.
I
Right? I mean, it's
didn't
ridiculous.
say it was the same thing.
You are relating to. You're taking two things that are related only by one person in their mind, which is you, right? Because I guarantee you that other people would not relate it. That's not the way it's meant. That's not the way it's designed. That's not the way that it's used.
But it is used in the same situations, both of those words.
Yeah, and so table and chair both exist in the same room, but they're not the same thing.
I know
Not
they're
in
not
any
the
sense
same
at
thing.
all. So that's not an argument. It's not an argument to say that at all. It's not. That's a non-argument. That's a false argument. That's a fallacy, because saying that two things that are not the same are related because they're the same. I know that's crazy. That's like saying like that I'm you or you're me or whatever.
It's not like saying that, G.
It
You're
is.
just making up ridiculous examples and analogies that are not even analogies because they're something completely different.
Well, taking two words that are not the same thing and saying that they basically are. I mean, that's... And no, when you know that that's not the way it's designed, when you know it's not the way that it's meant, when you know that's not the way that it's used.
I don't know that it's not the way that
I-
it's
I-
meant. They've got the same
Yeah, I just told you.
first
No,
part
yes,
of the word, and
oh
they
dear,
are
they've got the
used
same
in
first letter. Now you're arguing about letters and
first part of
syllables.
the word.
Oh dear, like
And
motor
they
and
are
mouse have
used
the
in the same
first letter.
situation, just like gosh and God, just like heck and hell. Spaz
Yeah,
and
because
spoon.
everyone knows that when someone says, everyone knows when someone is using something for something else, and this is not the case here. Okay,
Yeah, okay.
this is
I'll
not the
take
case
your
here.
word for it, but
It's not my word. It's a fact. It's got fuck all to do with me. It's a fact.
well, it has everything
It's
to
a
do with you because you're the one who uses it.
No, that's a false argument again. Separate the person from what's happening. Separate the person from what's happening. That's what you suggested earlier, okay? And I think it's a good idea that you separate the person from what's happening. It's not the way. It's projection to throw those two things together. They're not the same thing at all. Absolutely. And smiling and raising your eyebrows is not an argument. It's just a way to make yourself feel better.
I'm not saying any arguments. I'm not saying that smiling is an argument. I don't know why you're even.
Yeah,
Why do you have
because
to introduce my
because
facial
you're not using
expressions?
words, because you're using non-verbal expression. Because to look at somebody with the sort of frowny expression, right, is to communicate, right? I mean, you don't say it in words. but
Yes.
you
When
do.
I have frowny expression, it means that I'm thinking about it. I don't know how you interpret it. I don't know why you interpret frowning as an argument.
Because it is an argument, because it's a
It's
rejection.
not an
It's a
argument. I'm
rejection of the
thinking
statement.
about it.
It's a rejection of the statement. It's definitely not neutral. You tell me that frowning is a neutral response. It's not neutral. It's non-verbal communication of some level of disagreement without a without a yet presented logical argument.
Frowning.
Yes, frowning is when you're confused or you don't understand something.
Yes, because you're thinking about it. Yes, I'm confused and I don't understand it and I'm thinking about it. What the fuck is wrong with that? Am I not allowed to think about things now?
I don't know. I mean, you limit yourself. I'm not putting any limits on things.
You're not putting any limits on things. Yet you say, oh, frowning's not an argument.
It's
I'm not saying it's an
but-
argument, for crying out loud. Just freaking leave my face be and let me express my own thinking in my own way. If I start jumping up and down on top of my pinky toes,
Relax, for God's sake.
well then stop criticizing things that are not for you to criticize, okay?
It's not for you to criticize. I decide what you can criticize. It's not for you. Now you're... What did you throw at me? You threw something at me.
I didn't throw, I flunk.
That's not a word.
It is now.
What? Flunk.
Yes.
Oh, actually, no, flunk is a word. It means to fail. It's
Flink, flunk, flunken.
like drunken.
Yes. I flunk my hair tie at you.
It's not a hair tie. It's a hair band. Isn't it?
Now look who's picky about words.
They're different things. A tie has two ends that you tie together. A band is circular. My God, they're two different things.
For fuck's sake.
It's
If
not
you're
a
going
hair
to be
tie.
picky
It's a hair
about words,
band.
at least do
You
it in
couldn't- you couldn't-
important
you couldn't
situations.
Ping. You didn't flink flunk. You pinged. You pinged.
Flunk my hair tie at you.
No, you pinged it.
I flunked
That
it.
was a ping. That was
I
a
know what
definite
I'm
ping.
doing. I think I know
What?
what I'm doing. And I flunk it.
You
You
certainly
didn't
did.
even know.
You certainly did flunk it.
You didn't even know what I flunk.
I do. I see it over there. I see it landed on the floor.
Well,
over
now
there.
you
It's a
do, because I
pink and-
told you what it was.
It's a pink and white banded hairband.
Well, first of all, you thought that I threw it. So how can you tell me I pinked it?
Because you said you
when
flunked
thought
it.
You threw
Yes,
it.
and I knew what you meant, but it's not a word.
I flunk it. It is now.
To flunk, you wouldn't use flunk for throw. You would use flunk for ping.
Well, I fluck it then.
You flucked it.
Flick, fluck, fluck.
You flucked it.
Yes.
That's rude.
Hey, do you know the game Bop It?
Fuck you! What are you talking about?
Do you know the game Bop It? I saw it in Tesco the other day.
Bop it.
I was like, oh my god, my childhood is coming back to me.
Bop it.
Bop It.
Isn't that where you punch someone in the face?
No, it's this little
Bop them in
machine,
the face.
and it tells you what you're supposed to do, and it's got
what?
like 5 parts to it. It's a
What?
little toy machine thing, yeah, and it's got 5 parts to it, and a button in the middle, and it tells you what to do, and it plays this really annoying tune. It goes like doom 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 doom, and it
Like
goes
every
bop
electro-
it, and then you have to bop it, and then it goes doom 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 flick it, and then you have to flick it, and it's got like 5 parts, and each part does something else. You've got like flick it, you've got
What?
bop it, you've got twist it, you've got something else,
Spoon it.
and it goes faster and faster and faster, and you have to do those things really fast in the end. It goes like bop it, flick it, twist it, screw it, you know, things like that. It's really fun. We used to play it all the time when we were kids, and you get
survived
points.
childhood.
Yeah, and you get points. You know, the longer you can do it, the more points you get, and the faster you have to go. I was really good at it. I was the bop
Did
it
you-
master of universe.
Did you do anything with that video last night?
What video? No, I
I
didn't.
thought you were going to put it on Facebook.
No, I didn't. I thought it would be too humiliating.
I thought it was quite funny actually. I'm not like what would be humiliating? I wouldn't find that humiliating.
No,
No, I thought
you don't mind looking like a spaz.
I can live with self-depreciating humor. I can live with that. That's not an issue for me. Like if it like what would be not suitable for me. I sort of see anything that's sort of it's a real thing which is happening. So I don't see any issue with it. It would be like if I was dancing badly and somebody videoed it and put it on the internet. I wouldn't worry about it because I'd be like, yeah, I danced badly. You know, I got self-depreciating humor. I don't fucking mind. So obviously there's some line somewhere, but don't know. Like if somebody videoed me while I was having a shit, right? I mean that would not be acceptable, right? But
No.
if somebody, yeah, you got to get those videos offline now.
Okay.
Right. So you're leaving your camera in the bathroom, just getting ready for those things. But yeah. Look, I would sort of, I guess, you know. Look, it's kind of weird because like if we were outside like at a swimming pool and you know we were playing some kind of like I don't know some game there and there was some video of the game or some kind of beach volleyball or swimming or whatever, and that stuff would be kind of cool. But if it was like somebody videoed me in the shower, I would say that would be inappropriate. So I'm not quite sure where the line gets crossed, but somewhere there's a line. And anyway, I don't mind.
Anybody video you in the shower?
I don't know. I'm just saying that would be unacceptable, right? I'm just saying, look, where's the line? Because you were like, you didn't want to put it online because you thought it would be like I would be offended by it, but no, because it's real, and I actually, strangely,
Did
I'm
look
very,
crazy yesterday.
I'm really comfortable with the fact that there's shit that I do which is not cool, and I don't mind about it. And if it appears online, like I've got alone on my YouTube channel 2,000 presentations. Do you not think that maybe 100 of them contain some kind of risque information or some kind of odd perspective or
Well, like this one now.
look, yeah, it's. I think that the more you can shine light on the reality of things, and you can argue about what the reality of things are, but the more that you can shine light on the reality of things, then the better you have an opportunity to make stuff. And it is very important for me in my personal development to have not just reflection but acceptance of things. And if you posted that video online, I would be like, yeah, that's me, and I would look at it from the perspective of, as a parent, you end up doing ridiculous things sometimes, and that's perfectly okay. And and I think it's one of those things that's real.
Mm-hmm.
So it would kind of be. It's kind of cool in a way, but I don't mean in the sense of cool to be cool. I just mean in the sense that it's okay to be normal, and that's why parents end up doing things which are pretty silly, right? I'm sure you've got some experience of that.
No.
No, none whatsoever. There you go.
I never
So-
do anything.
So, and I think that's sort of the cool thing. Like everybody's trying to be all cool, and it's nice to have this like, professional persona and presentation. But the reality is that we screw up from time to time, and that's okay. We've got to sort of be accustomed to being okay with making mistakes, and I think when the kids can see their parents getting involved in the activities that they're doing and putting themselves into it rather than being like I've seen some adults like oh well, let me try this, and oh well, I tried it once, and what you gotta kind of throw yourself into shit, right? Because if you do it half-heartedly, it's just like stuff's not going to work, right? So some parents get involved in kids, like they get half involved in the kids' games. Yeah, they're just not involved. You know what I'm saying? It's like they do it, but they feel like it's an obligation rather than an enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get stuck in. I don't want to get trapped in obligation land. I want to.
Okay.
I want to enjoy those
time?
things with the kids.
What's the time?
Yeah, it's like how many parents do you see with their kids out in the park with?
Can I check the time?
On my phone, you want
Yes.
to check the time?
Well, I need to know what the time is because I'm at
7.
work.
37.
Okay.
So you rarely see parents with their kids out in the park practicing some sport. You rarely. Now, I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Obviously, it does happen, and maybe some parents do it in the garden. Maybe some parents do it in other places. And everybody's got different interests and different activities. But it's just something that I've sort of been aware of, that there are very few parents who put themselves into their children's activities as much as we do. They don't. You see parents take out their kids to do something, and they leave the kids to do the thing, or they explain the thing to kids, but they don't do the thing with the kids. And it's really, really, really important. As if really, really, really is an argument. It's really, really, really important that the kids see the parents doing the activity.
Yeah, I think it's all individual again. So.
Well, it is all
I don't
individual, but parents don't put themselves into
kids
those
don't need to see me playing the Avengers game for them to be able to, do it or enjoy it or something. I understand that I think there are things that parents should do with children, and I think there are things that parents should leave the children to do with other children or with themselves rather than
That's my argument.
doing them
That's
while not enjoying them. I mean, you can't enjoy everything, right? I mean, I don't enjoy pretend play, right? So I'm not going to sit down with Jasmine and pretend play that I don't know, two unicorns are talking with each other and having a tea party if I don't enjoy it. And I can't make myself enjoy it. But I have other things that I enjoy that I'm very happy to share with her and that I'm very happy to bond over, right?
I agree with you. Can you take it for a minute?
Do you need to poop?
No, I need to pee.
Oh,
I need to go and pee.
oh dear.
You just talk about cool activities to do with kids.
Did Jasmine just snore?
That was you.
No, it wasn't. No. I think that was Jasmine. I think she just snored. She came to sleep in our bed because she peed in her own bed last night because she didn't wear a nappy because she said she was a big girl and she didn't want to wear a nappy. So I wanted to give her the benefit of a doubt. But that obviously didn't help. It wasn't a good idea. So I suppose I should have put the nappy on. I think that we should slowly finish because Mummy has a lot of things to do today, and I will not be able to throw myself into games with the children because I have too much work to do. And if I don't do it while they're sleeping, then I'm gonna have to do it while they're awake. And if I'm doing it while they're awake, then I won't be able to play with them while they're awake. So that's the conflict. That's the everyday conflict of what am I going to do with my time. That needs to be resolved, obviously. And this weekend is difficult because I have extra things to do on top of the usual things that I have to do. So that'll be a bit rough. I don't really know what else to say. Jasmine is sleeping here next to me, very peacefully and happily, I imagine. And I wish I could join her because she looks so sleepy and cuddly and snuggly, like a little teddy bear, don't you, baby? Oh, thank God you're back.
What?
I said, oh, thank God you're back. I don't have anything to talk about.
I'm back. How can you not have anything to talk about?
I just don't have anything interesting to talk about.
Are you boring?
Well, yes, of course I am. I just have a lot of work to do and I have to go and do it. I've got...
Is her bed wet?
Yes.
Do we have to
Yes.
strip it and
Yes.
do all the stuff with it?
Yes. Yes, we do indeed. We have to strip it and do all the stuff with it. Which means throw it in the washing machine.
The whole bed?
Yes.
I hate to point out the obvious, but you won't fit the bed in the washing machine.
Oh well, I'll manage. One
What?
way or another.
You chop it up into little pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then put it together like the puzzle.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm really good at that puzzle, aren't I?
The jigsaw puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it would be a nice activity for everybody to do.
Nobody's doing it but me. Not even Babka can be bothered. But I enjoy
Babka
it.
usually likes puzzles, but recently she's been
Busy. Trying to survive. Us.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that she's busy planning her escape right now. She's focused on that.
Yeah?
She's persuaded Murray not to go with her.
She's not
And-
going.
What?
She's not going.
She's not going anywhere.
She said yesterday that she's not going. Nobody wants to go with her.
It's not funny.
No, she's not going because Muddy doesn't want to go with her.
Nobody wants to go with her.
And Helen doesn't want to go with her.
Nobody wants to go with her.
And she doesn't have anybody else to ask, I suppose.
Nobody wants to go with her.
Yeah.
And the only
So-
person who would go with her just died. So
yeah. So
um,
she announced yesterday that she's not going to Amelie's exhibition. End of story.
Oh, that was an excuse anyway. That was an excuse to go and do other things, I'm quite sure.
Well, of course she had other things to do there. I don't know why she doesn't want to go by herself. I would love
Because it would...
if I were her. She would have... I mean...
Because it would symbolise the fact that she has no one to go with. That's why she doesn't want to go by herself. Because it would just highlight the fact, it would underline the fact that she has nobody to go with.
Oh, God. To have some...
Or that nobody wants to go with her.
some,
Look,
some people have
she would
problems.
she would pay someone to go with her. But nobody wants to.
What
you
do
could
you
go
mean
with
she
her.
would pay someone? That's ridiculous.
No, she would buy 2 tickets.
Is that what you mean? Okay.
Yeah, she would buy 2 tickets.
I could go with her. Are you
Yeah.
crazy?
No,
What would I be
no, I
doing
mean-
there?
What?
I would
She'd
go
love your
crazy.
company.
Oh, fuck off.
She'd love the opportunity to talk to you and influence you.
I don't want that opportunity. Thank you very much.
What?
I've got that opportunity every day.
How can you turn that down?
Shut
Free
up.
trip.
Shut up.
No, you'd have some good one-on-one time.
I have to book my
It's
tickets.
personal development.
I have to book my tickets for June.
Yes, the longer you leave it, the more expensive it will be.
Yes, from a Thursday to Thursday. I'm just letting you know that I'm going to do that at some point in time.
Yes, yes, I expect it.
Okay. Okay, it's not going to be longer than 1 week.
Hopefully it'll be shorter than a week.
It won't be shorter than a week either.
It won't be. Are you sure?
Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure. It's not possible because the Sunday tickets are about 3 times as expensive as the Thursday tickets. So.
There you go. Everybody wants to travel at the weekend.
Uh-huh. Apparently. They do. Anyways, you better you better let me know what needs to be done when I'm there, if anything needs to be done when I'm there, okay? When it comes to offices and stuff.
Well, I said that we needed to sit down
I'm
and
gonna have to.
make a sort of, I want like a 10-step plan. Because obviously there's going to be like at least 10 steps in moving the business process. So,
Yeah.
so I'd like to make a 10-step plan and put it on the wall and sort of tick it off stage by stage
Okay.
as I go through that process.
Ah, okay.
Because that's now that the accountant has all the tax information.
Oh.
It's
Yeah.
that's done. So next phase of the enterprise, the great enterprise.
You're gonna go where no man has gone before.
Oh, that's what I've done most of my life.
No, not really.
What? Fuck you!
Not really. You've gone to Slovakia where there's already been
No,
like
you think
5 billion
people?
Million.
Do you think most people go to Slovakia? Like it's like 1 in a million, right? Who go to Slovakia?
Not most, but
I lived in Slovakia for 20 fucking years. Okay, how many foreigners have done that?
Conrad,
Um,
for example.
It doesn't fucking count because number one doesn't have to work because he's got money from his family. Yeah. So that's
Also
kinda,
that disqualifies him, right? That doesn't count him as a person.
that disqualifies him because it's not going to a place to set up a business and work. You could, in his situation, he could live anywhere in any place and not have to work, and so living there is just like whatever, right?
Oh.
So that's it's different from. There's a difference between going somewhere and living there, and going somewhere and setting up a business there. Now, do they cross over? Yeah, they do.
I've
But-
worked for a guy who set up like 3 businesses here, and he came from Algeria.
Yes,
and
exactly,
lived here for
exactly.
years. I mean,
Absolutely, that's great.
There's
There's
people
a-
that
yeah.
have done that before.
Yeah, but not foreigners who go to Slovakia.
Yeah, he was from Algeria, and he came to Slovakia.
Yeah. Oh, came to Slovakia. I thought,
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Britain. Okay.
No.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Every country needs intelligent people to enter the country and set up businesses. And
Yeah, I don't
work
think
with
he was
people.
very intelligent because they didn't work out very well.
Sorry, I thought you were giving me a positive example. Is it a negative example that you're giving?
It did. I think one of those businesses worked out. Or
No, you're changing it. Okay, so now
I
it's
think
positive.
one of them
See?
was okay, but the other 2 weren't. The one that I was involved didn't anyway. Don't know if that's a good. Good
4 out
marketing
of
for
every
me.
5 businesses fail in the first year, and
Exactly.
like what 1% survive 10 years. So, so that's the way that it goes, which is kind of cool because if your business survives 10 years, it sort of puts you in the top 1%.
Oh, mine's been on for 8.
Well, there you go. You get to 10 years, you're in the top 1%.
There you go.
Well, that's a real positive kind of way to
It's
look
not
at
really a
it.
business, though, is it?
It's a solopreneurship.
Yeah, it's not really a business. It's more like service providing,
Yeah,
or whatever.
there was some study that I read that 80% of businesses in the Western world are solopreneur businesses,
Uh-huh.
and that's not actually sustainable for society.
Oh well.
So that's an interesting statistic.
Well, it depends. I think it depends a lot about on what you're doing, right?
Um, does business depend on what you're doing? I think so,
Uh-huh.
because I think that business can't depend on what you're not doing.
What I'm saying is that some areas run. It's not that they're not sustainable, but some areas run on solo entrepreneurship. So
Oh,
in some areas, it's
for example,
not only sustainable, it's inevitable. For example, what I'm doing. For example, translations. You've got larger companies,
hmm
right? But those larger companies wouldn't exist the way they exist without lots of self-employed entrepreneurs working with these larger companies. So
Is it snowing?
no, it's just a dirty window.
No. There's definitely things drifting down.
Can't see anything
Past the
drifting
window.
anywhere.
Snowing, or is it raining? It's either snowing or raining. It's either really light rain or it's snow.
Well, there is that big cloud that haven't moved.
I'm not talking about over there. I'm fucking talking about just outside the window here.
Yes, I know.
The big cloud that hasn't moved.
Yeah.
What, the one that's not blocking the sun?
The one that's stretched out over the entire sky, apart from
Well,
the
how
piece of blue sky there where the sun is.
The sun's over there, not over there.
I was showing that as in just above the horizon,
She said as she
As
magically
opposed to-
raised her fingers.
as opposed to there, up there, behind the large cloud that's stretched out over the entire sky.
There's not look if there's a large cloud. How come there's sunshine on the wall here?
I just told you how come. Because the sun is just above the horizon, which is where the blue sky is.
Where's the cloud?
Up there. What? You know I'm right. You're just making me sound ridiculous.
I'm not making you sound ridiculous. You're making yourself sound ridiculous.
You're laughing, and you know I'm right. You're laughing at the truth.
Forget the fact you sound funny. That's why I'm laughing.
Look, see? The sun is disappearing behind the large cloud now. What? It is.
You so want there to be a big, large cloud.
There is a big, large cloud. Look, as soon as we get out of this bed, as soon as we turn this stuff off and get out of this bed, I'm going to walk you to the window and I'm going to point out to you the big, large cloud.
It's okay, I'm not.
Covering 3/4 of the
It's
sky.
okay, I'm not fucking disabled. Okay, you're not gonna walk me to the window for fuck's sake. Right, I'm not a dog. How come till I come round and
I
help you out of
don't
bed? Would you like
well,
a stick?
I don't know. You're
To say-
saying you can't see the big large cloud, then you must have some kind of vision impediment or something.
Well, I call curtains and shutters and stuff. There's only a little.
You're suffering a
Crack there,
bad
so-
case of curtains, obviously,
Yeah.
or shutters.
Obvious jokes to be avoided, like you need to pull yourself together. Tra-la-la.
Whatever that had to do with anything.
Doctor, I
Yeah.
feel like a pair of curtains. Oh, come on now. Pull yourself together.
I didn't know that one.
Doctor, I feel like a bridge. Oh my god, what's come over you? 2 buses, 3 cars.
Oh dear.
Doctor, I don't know what the problem is, but everywhere I touch it hurts. It hurts here, it hurts here, it hurts here. Broken finger.
I know that one.
Oh, okay.
That one's old.
That one's old.
Yeah. Not unlike the curtains.
No, because they're not prehistoric at all, are they? They're obviously ripped out of some castle somewhere.
It's ridiculous how curtains are expected to look terrible. It's like if somebody's wearing a dress and you tell them it looks like you just made that out of a curtain, it communicates that the dress is not very nice, right?
Yes.
But it also
agree.
communicates some kind of prejudice against curtains in general.
Yeah, I mean, I suggest that we set up the anti-curtain protection league.
No, that would be pro-curtain, anti-curtain discrimination.
What?
Anti-curtain discrimination.
Wouldn't you then be discriminating against people?
Okay, then let's set up a fund.
A fund.
It's always better to set up a fund.
Go fund me, because I'm on the
Let's
left.
set up a fund to fight against
And I
discrimination against
can't
curtains.
persuade anybody to buy my products.
Fabricism.
What?
Fabricism. Let's fight against
What the fuck?
fabricism.
What the fuck is that?
Fabricism is discrimination against fabrics. Like
Oh,
curtain
is that
fabrics.
a thing?
Well, it is now. I just made it up.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Fabricism.
Yes. We can fight against fabricism.
Stop fabricism.
Stop curtainisms. Or something. I don't know.
Parp.
That's what I think about it. Poor curtains.
Yeah. Obviously, some people have very bad.
But it's really...
design.
But I don't understand this. It's like all
potential? I don't
curtains.
know. No,
It's
that's
like
not right.
99 curtains look terrible. Right? I mean, I love curtains. I'd be really happy if they looked nice.
You love curtains.
I mean, how do you make
Is that a
curtains
confession?
nice? Yeah. You either buy like plain curtains.
They should
right?
be colourful.
What?
All curtains. There should be a law that all curtains should be tartan.
Oh Jesus Christ! No.
Yes.
No, that's horrible.
Off with their heads if they don't
Oh.
have tartan curtains.
Oh, that would look horrible. No, you could have like
Oh.
solid. You could have like solid
that?
color, right?
What?
Like
Solid colour.
just one color. One color
Plain. It's
turtles.
called plain.
Plain curtains, like plain mauve or something.
Excuse me?
Mauve.
Is that a colour?
Uh-huh.
What fucking colour is mauve?
Mauve.
What is that? Is that brown?
I'm not sure. I think it's got something to do with purple. Anyway,
Mauve.
yeah.
I'm not sure that
It could be brown though.
aware of the existence of a colour called mauve.
I'm aware of its existence. I'm not sure what color it is actually. Anyway, yeah, you know, I can imagine like plain curtains look nice if the fabric is of good quality. But
As opposed to curtains with planes on them.
yeah, exactly. But definitely not tartan curtains. That
What?
that would just look like you're in the Middle Ages or something. Like a Middle Ages tapestry or whatever.
Well, like like most of the places in this country,
Yeah.
I think belong to the Middle Ages.
Yeah. No, nothing tartan.
No? Okay.
If you want tartan,
You're
buy a kilt.
anti-tartan. You're
Yes.
anti-tartan.
Anti-tartanist. Yeah.
Yeah, if you say so.
I know it's fabricist, but
What?
there you go. To be anti-tartan is
Less
fabricist.
fabricism, more tartanism. That's
Well,
what I
you
support.
can't be a tartanist if you're not a fabricist. Because if you're a tartanist, that means that you think that tartan is better than anything else. You shouldn't be a fabricist. You shouldn't put one type of fabric in front of the others, or the other way around, or to discriminate against one type of fabric. So all fabrics are equal. But I am fabricist because I'm
Apparently not.
anti-tartan. Anyway, I think that on that bombshell, we should end.
You lost me. I don't know about anyone else.
That's okay. I've lost Jazz as well. She's sleeping.
Does the wet bed have to be stripped?
You asked that already. I already gave you an answer to that question.
I thought the answer was yes.
Yes.
Well, what I'm really asking is, do you need help?
Yes.
Would you like some help?
Yes, you can do it. Thank you very much.
Please, may I help you?
Yes, please, you may. You may strip it and take it downstairs.
And
Not the bed, the stripped linen.
Does the bed need to be wiped with a cloth to be dried?
It's got a plastic undersheet.
What is the plastic undersheet like? Full of pee or something, or? Because it's got a plastic undersheet. I mean,
the plastic
that doesn't
undersheet
solve
needs to be
anything,
stripped
does it?
as well. It's not full
Does
of
the bed
pee.
need to be taken outside into the garden and
What bed?
wiped
No.
and aired?
No.
Because if it's wet.
No, the bed is not wet. The bed is not wet at all.
The bed is not wet at all.
No.
Are you sure?
It's all soaked
Okay.
into the. It's all soaked into the duvet cover, maybe, and
So all this
bed sheet
basically
definitely.
everything has to go
So
down to
all the
laundry.
pee has soaked into the bed sheet. What you need to do is strip the duvet cover. Take the duvet
yes,
cover.
sir.
Listen to me.
Yes, sir.
Strip the duvet cover. Strip the bed sheet and strip the plastic undersheet. And take the bed sheet, the duvet cover, and the plastic undersheet downstairs to be washed.
Can I not just take everything downstairs? To
What
be washed? 'Cause
everything? What do
isn't
you mean
it-
by everything?
Well, like everything that's on the bed is obviously.
No, you can't.
What? No.
Because you can't wash a duvet with the cover on it.
Well, I have to take the duvet down. No, because if the duvet cover is wet, the duvet is going to be
No,
wet.
that's not true.
Oh, it didn't soak through. Show me something that's not soaked through a duvet cover before.
Because she didn't pee on top of the duvet. She was covered with the duvet. And the duvet cover is only damp because it had touched the bed sheet. But the duvet is fine. Look, you can sniff it. And if you decide that the duvet cover smells like pee, that the duvet itself smells like pee, you can take it downstairs.
Yes, sir.
But I can guarantee you that it doesn't. Now, I'm not sure whether the plastic undersheet is under a mattress protector or on top of a mattress protector. But if it's under a mattress protector, then the protector has to be taken downstairs as well. But you will obviously realize that when you're taking stuff down. So the pillow should be fine, hopefully.
Oh, I will inspect it,
Inspect it.
and we will see
Yes.
what it is.
Yes.
So the little character that I was playing with,
Remember, you broke the ear off.
the ear fell off.
Oh.
It's not well manufactured.
Well, you did say, "Ooh, I just broke the ear of the character." So I'm just going by what you said.
It fell off when I played with it.
Of course.
It's not broken, though. As you can see, it's not broken. But the question is, what is it? You just fucking broken it, you spaz.
No, I'm just
You've just pulled the ear off.
I was expecting it.
You
Can you pull the other one off?
Is that?
No.
Don't let this woman know your pets.
You can't
Sure.
put the other one off.
What?
You can't pull the other one off.
I bet you could if you pulled hard enough.
It means you must have broken it.
What? It's fine. It's perfectly fine. The question is, what is it?
It's a dragon.
What?
Dragon.
How do you know it's a dragon?
Oh, it's obvious.
What?
It's obviously
It's not
a
fucking
dragon.
obvious to me. Aren't dragons supposed to have giant wings and breathe fire?
Well, this is a baby dragon. It doesn't
scaly.
have wings yet.
How do you know it's a baby dragon?
Because it doesn't look like any dinosaur I've ever seen. So it's got to be a dragon.
It doesn't look like a bicycle either.
Look, it's either a dragon or a dinosaur. And it's not a dinosaur, so it's got to be a dragon.
It does have that kind of, what they call the 2 feet dinosaur thing, biped. I don't know.
Biped. Sounds like some kind of motorcycle.
A biped.
Uh-huh.
It's the motorcycle for the Flintstones, perhaps.
No, it's a dragon. It's a dragon that walks on its hind legs because
Where's his wings?
personalized. On here on the head.
It's not a fucking dragon. Dragons do not have wings on their head. You
Well, this
spaz.
one does. Look,
No,
one of
that's
them.
why
One
it's
of
not
them
a
comes
dragon.
off. But look, they're not ears.
What?
They're not ears. They're wings. They're tiny wings that are growing out of the sides of his head.
Is that why his eyes are so big?
I guess so.
Why has he got a mohawk? What's-
Mohawks are cool.
What's that about?
I'm gonna get mohawks.
Something broken off its tail?
Yes. You probably chewed it off.
Fuck off. I just found it. Found it like that.
Right. That's what they all say.
It looks like a cross. It looks like a cross between a baby dinosaur
And a chicken.
and a raspberry.
Looks like a chicken.
Looks like a fucking raspberry.
Doesn't look like a raspberry. It looks like
It
a
does.
chicken.
It does look. Yeah, it's a raspberry.
Right. Stop it. I have to work. Uh.
You've had your fun. What's done is done.
Now it's time to run.
There you go. Feels like my world has come undone. Say bye.
Bye.
Did. And the other